This podcast is proudly supported by the Ōtara Network Action Committee, ōNAC, community-owned, community-driven and community-led.
No mai, haere mai, hoki mai anō ki We Are Ōtara. This is our very special podcast broadcasted to you from Ōtara, centre of the universe. And in the 274, we like to tell the good stories. So today I'm here with my colleague Ja and with the amazing Richie Misilei of Auckland Council.
Thank you.
Yeah, and of course we've got Vinny on camera.
Oh.
So we're going to mix it up for you guys today and have a bit of a free-form conversation about growing up in Ōtara, working in Ōtara, working in the city, coming back, and how does that feel for a young man growing up? And then Jar's going to jump in with a few questions, the curly ones, if she thinks it's a bit tame, because we don't do tame either. Okay, so
First
Richie.
question, where are you from?
Currently?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am with my wife and my beautiful daughter, and we stay in Papatoetoe. So that's where I'm from. And mum and dad are from Samoa, so they were the first generation to come here. So I'm the first New Zealander. Yeah, New Zealand born Samoan in my family.
Wow.
Yeah.
And have you got siblings?
Two sisters, they're younger than me, so I'm the eldest, and they've got their own whānau. So yeah, that's pretty much the Misilei in a nutshell.
I thought there's a brother who's a youth. There's a Misilei that works at Youthline.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. And I see you, Richie's brother, and he said yes, he was.
Oh, there's someone out there masquerading. No, I don't know any other Misileis. That's not even our family name. There's that tradition where we take the first name of the grandfather, and so that's Misilei is actually my grandfather's first name. We're from the Asiata family, which is a lot more well known in the Samoan circles.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, whoever this Misilei is in Youthline, I'm not sure.
Whānau.
Yeah. We could be, but not sure, yeah.
Yeah, well, the brother you never heard of.
Yeah, I'd say. Ask mum and dad, what's going on?
Anyway, so that's a really good starter.
Yeah, nice.
So why don't you tell us about growing up? Where'd you go to school? Where were you living when you were first born?
Yeah. So central born, which is really weird. I don't know if you remember, Judy, there was a hospital called St. Helens back in the days.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was a St. Helens baby. That's no longer around. I don't even know what's there anymore.
It's a tertiary.
That's right. Yes. You're right.
Auckland School of Education.
Yeah. So I was born there, and I just remember because. Even though I was young, but I just remember they had at the entrance there was this massive pond, but it was like a one that was lifted up, and I don't know why that memory sticks out for me, but that's where I was born.
This is a couple of days old. You remember?
I just remember being young. Yeah. So I don't know if it was a couple of days old or if I had gone there later, but that's always a memory that sticks out for me. But then I was pretty much Māngere raised, so yeah, that's pretty much where I've been. Where I grew up, I was a primary there, intermediate college, so I'm an ex-De La Salle boy. But my connection of Ōtara came when I became the manager at the youth library, that's the Tupu Youth Library.
Yeah. That's where you became famous, wasn't you? That amazing guy working as a volunteer.
Yeah, Vinny was one of our regulars there. So that's where my love for, because kind of back then it was almost like a Māngere Ōtara thing. But when I came to work here in Ōtara, man, I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with it. And just, there's a thing in hip hop where they talk about Eminem, the rapper, being, because he's of a European, or he's white, so they call him a guest in hip hop. Because the hip hop culture scene is black, and I almost see myself as a guest in Ōtara. So not quite like family, but because I've worked there and I love it so much, I consider myself a mere guest, but a guest that loves the hood.
I feel a bit like that too. I used to stay up the road, but yeah.
Well,
when you feel loved in a place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they've opened up their arms wide and and so now since I started working here, two of my closest brothers, they're from here and they're just they're like, oh no, you're Ōtara, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel like that status, but you know, because these two are diehard 274 brothers. Yeah, I really appreciate the love that the people send.
Well, I think that's that whole feeling that we have about you too, that, you know, when you materialised again in facilities at Ōtara, and we're going, woo! Yeah, I wasn't there anyway.
I pay people, Judy, that's why they
I never got the check. So what about, so you went to De La Salle, and after De La Salle, before you became the manager at Tupu, presumably you did something.
Yeah. I did some study.
Yeah.
So got to university, just scraped in with my university entrance.
Otherwise, it's a waste of effort. That was my theory. More than a C minus.
Oh, yeah. And that's exactly why I got 3 C's was the minimum back then, and that's what I got. So I studied I did a BA in education.
Was that U of A or AUT?
Yeah, University of Auckland. And then after that degree, I went and got a business degree. My aim was to study HR, human resources, and because I just love the human factor of business, and so that was the aim. But so just as I finished my studies, I caught up with a friend who was working at Tupu, and she said to me, oh, look, there's a youth role coming up at Tupu Youth Library. And I thought at the time, sweet, I'm just finishing my studies. I'm going to apply for this role. I'm just going to be here 3 years, and then I'm going to bounce and hopefully find a role in HR. 15 years later, still in libraries and still really loving it. So that's kind of my story of that. Yeah.
But you don't, you always think about a librarian as being someone that's not that exciting.
And I think that's a perception that we've been battling for ages. People have this idea, library's quiet and so forth, but they've had to ride with the times and go with what the community need. And not everyone's done that well, but I feel like in Ōtara they've done that well. Yeah, and I feel like Tupu has been a great example.
Well, they've had some amazing managers.
Yeah,
like
that's
at
right.
the town centre too. I mean, everyone thought that they were the grandchildren of that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Ian has been amazing too. I mean, he was chosen by the community.
Exactly.
I remember that the appointment, and there was a bit of lobbying going on, but everybody wanted Ian. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
And he's born and bred Ōtara, so that's what I love about Ian being in that space. He's one of our own. So, and so when I ask him about things, he's constantly coming at it from an Ōtara viewpoint. Yeah. And that's what you need. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I remember him advocating for it, like the Pacifica space and Māori space, right. and that was back in the day when it wasn't even spoken.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now you'll be able to see the fruit of the advocacy. You'll go into Ōtara, far different space than it was 10 years ago and so forth. So
it's amazing. Well, you've got Kayla, of course.
Yeah, that's right.
I sat next to a lady at a hui yesterday, actually. Heard it here first. I won't name and shame you. It's all right. And she said, "Oh yeah, Kayla Taruki. Oh, she's amazing. We tried to poach her." And I'm going,
Oh, really? Okay, who's this?
Amazing woman, but obviously she didn't get poached. We didn't have a chance to talk to her.
So you want to keep Kayla?
Yeah, exactly. She's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah. I claim the credit actually for her coming to libraries. When we were doing that activation at Māngere. At the job thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with Sonia.
Yeah, with Sonia. And so I got Sonia to talk to her about what was like being in a library, and she spent some time with her.
Nice.
Go, Sonia.
There you go, Judy. Thank you.
Shout out for Sonia Mundo.
Yeah. And Huia for letting her daughter work with us. So.
Yes. Anyway, she's always been an amazing young woman. Always.
Yeah.
And coming back to libraries was really amazing too. Yay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Perfect. Working woman. That's what women in Ōtara can do, things like that. Have children, have careers, lead. So what about your job now? What are you doing?
So the official title of my role at Auckland Council is, they call it the Connected Communities Lead and Coach for Ōtara Papatoetoe. And so that just, Connected Communities is just another department in council, and they look after all the libraries, a lot of the frontline services, so libraries, the arts facilities, the community centres, and then there's a lot of what we call community empowerment. That's part of their function too. So I look after that part for Ōtara Papatoetoi. At the moment, I'm caretaking also for Mangere Otahu, just because the guy who was in that role, he left. So yeah, just there's a bit of a gap there. So I'm just looking after both spaces. So yeah, that's pretty much my role. So yeah, look after the 4 libraries in the Ōtara Papatoetoi area. I look after ŌNAC, Fresh Gallery, Te Puke Ōtara, and then there's like I said, there's that community empowerment function that's within our team as well. So yeah, that's pretty much my role.
And so, do you want to talk a bit about what, other than that, I mean, the community empowerment thing, what does that actually look like?
Yeah. So if groups like Ōtara Health requesting funding, any kind of community group or social group wanting funding, that empowerment function is the one that kind of helps them give that money. They'll be the ones to produce the, we'll say, contract at the moment. And so that's the aim is to go and kind of start building capacity within the community. So council doesn't run everything, because council can have can sometimes move into an area and feel like it knows everything, but actually we all know the community has the answers. And so council is, I guess their function is saying, council, we're going to step back. The community, you know your areas best, so we'll give you the power to do things better. Yeah, because you'll do it better than us.
Yeah. How insightful of council.
No, not always perfect, but that's the intention.
The kaupapa is amazing.
Yeah.
Really quite special. Well, so Richie, we were talking a little bit about there's different aspects of your role, and we know about how you come out of, initially in libraries, but then you went into facilities, and then so that was the whole property side of assets, I guess, and then from there, how did the segue work into the empowerment piece? Where did you get your background and your passion? I guess? Because that's the bit, is that you clearly have a passion for.
Yeah. Absolutely love the community. It's probably the part that drives me the most, especially when the operational stuff gets tiring. But I guess my skill set in it came from my time at Tupu. I mean, before that, I had been doing community work, particularly youth work. I know you're very aware of youth work. Especially back in the 274 Youth Corps days, I was volunteering with those guys, and so I got my sense from that. Went to Tupu Youth Library, started doing more community development stuff there, particularly with youth. And so that's where that part has stayed. It's the part that I'm trying to learn at the moment is all the council processes around it. All the funding agreements and so forth. For that's the
stuff.
the long, arduous stuff that can be. It's an interesting process, but so that's the arm I'm trying to learn at the moment. Yeah.
So while you're saying that, what I'm thinking about was when we reconnected for the century, that whole idea about, and not probably the century, decade, let's go for a decade, how refreshing it was when we were organising Matariki for Ōtara Papatoetoi last year, and you said, hey, we're not going to manage these funds anymore. This time we're going to take a different idea, let the community organisation hold the funding, and they can decide as a community who's going to deliver this for our community. And it was brave.
And it's but needed, because I think council are slowly recognising that we don't have all the answers. We don't even have the manpower. So it makes sense to go to the community to run things for the community. And I always remember the late great Alan Va'a. When he was running 274, he used to say "for the hood, by the hood."
Yes.
And I never understood it. Yeah. So I then I know that body came out. But I've always kind of thought, he was right. The hood understands the hood. The community understands the community. So it makes sense to go to them, but not then just chuck them in and hope that they can land on their feet. But then also provide funding, resources, and then provide support. Backup, because council does have resources and support that others don't necessarily have. These small community groups, and we're expecting them to run something for thousands. So that's kind
Except
of where.
that you knew ōNAC. Knew
Yeah.
exactly what to do.
So that's kind of my
Yeah.
thinking around that.
Well, that's great, really. Now, I was thinking that, because that for the hood, by the hood, I mean, there's that Samoan whakatauki about the solutions for community can be found in the community, and I don't speak Samoan.
It shows my Samoa. I'm like, which one is that?
That's on the bottom of Akare's
Okay, cool.
emails.
I better check it out. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, but it's so true. It's so true. And, Sully Pye would, always, he would say, just leave us alone. We can do what needs to happen here ourselves. We don't need third parties coming in and telling us what to do. So it's so true. So hopefully we'll do it all again in the 2024.
24.
Woo. Yeah, we won't be going there right now. But that model, I guess, have you presented that as a model to your colleagues?
The great thing about the crew that work in Ōtara is they know that. So they're already kind of operating. I feel like they're operating in that front. And I know the local board are thinking that way too. Like often the chair, Apulu, is constantly saying, oh, look, this community group needs support. How can you help? And we'll get personal emails from him saying, oh, look, I've received this request. What can we do to support? So I know his thinking
I know
is
he
there.
loved the matariki.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
We had a special meeting with him just to talk it through because he said there were so many things to read. Sometimes I miss things. So I sent him a separate link to the movie.
Yeah.
Ōtara the movie. I mean, it is exciting really exciting. And I think about other things. I mean, sometimes we forget, I guess, to ask the local board to help. Certainly, we as an organisation certainly forget to ask for help because sometimes it hasn't been that easy. But that was the process that you've created, or the model that you've demonstrated is really, really helpful. And I think it gives me a lot more confidence about how we as a community can step forward into the future and do that kind of thing. Because I think, Jazz, the veteran of, it's probably closer to 10 than 5 years of running holiday programs. And
wow, awesome.
It's amazing, but you also see that struggle, don't you, with trying to get enough money to pay for the actual hard cash. We can have lots of volunteers, and she's got an amazing team of volunteers that it's just incredible. But
jump to whatever I say.
They do. They do.
Well, that's awesome.
You're frightened, that's right.
Yeah. A little bit.
But, when you've got 60 kids out on a bus and you're going to the other side of the city, or, up north or whatever, there's no room for... So you do need a bit of cash to pay for something.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, you become really good hustlers, I think.
We haven't lost no children yet.
No.
Nice.
Not once.
Yeah.
We're doing great.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's a trust thing too, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? Jazz says, I've got something. I know, because we've worked together for so long. And I guess that was the same thing with the community organisation that... we said we can do this, and you said, okay, go and do it.
Yeah,
and we could stand it up. I do recall we only had funding about 2 days before Matariki started.
Yeah.
But you can stand things up quickly because you can be agile at the coalface. Yeah,
far more agile than council can be. It's just because of the limits we have to work within.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
And for good reason.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll tell the mayor that. You need processes. But it's true. Whereas in community, I guess the self-healing circles are effective and quite different.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And I like that you said that part about, the limits that we work within, because I think what makes it good for council, because, we are holding people's money. It's not our own. We're holding ratepayers' money.
Yeah.
And so when we had that meeting a couple of weeks ago in Tipi, Arthur, he's... When he said that about, we're holding ratepayers' money, we know we have to honour it, then that just adds more trust because you're like, because we're holding money on behalf of people, we're giving it to you, so we were trusting you with people's money.
Yeah, our role is kaitiaki, really.
That's right. Yeah.
There's no ownership involved.
Exactly.
But we're the proxy, I suppose, for the community in terms of guaranteeing the output.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. But go Ōtara. I think we do amazing things. I mean, it's actually ōNAC that we have to thank for the studio here, because we applied for money all over the place and no one knew what the hell I was talking about. And then it was ōNAC that said, well, I think we did. Remember we did those podcasts.
Southside Kōrero?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, Southside Kōrero. So we had Jar and Vinny, the youth podcasters, and that was our demonstration model. And ōNAC said, well, can you give us, 8 podcasts? And we went, yep, we can do that.
Yeah,
and I think we did most of them by Zoom at the beginning, didn't we?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we weren't allowed to see each other.
Yeah.
Not that we didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
During that time, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good actually, wasn't it?
It was.
I remember that John Pulu. That was hilarious. That was your first ever one, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So I mean,
It was good.
Yeah, but it gave us that opportunity in a safe environment to demonstrate that telling our stories was actually a viable proposition.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And then they funded all the gear that's sitting here.
Wow.
Because I wanted movie cameras. But one day, perhaps we'll apply to empowered communities. Because proper podcasting studios have much bigger cameras.
Yeah.
Will we get a bigger outcome? Who cares? I just could see the idea. So how many podcasts have we done now?
All right, the mystery voice.
All of them.
Hello. I've done bar one. I've done over 40 to 80 plus.
Yeah.
Wow.
40 to 80.
So
There's a multiplier in there.
It depends on what show I'm on. Like,
Oh, yeah.
So through.
So you produced that many?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I've hosted over 50, close to 50 now,
Yeah.
and I've only produced about 40 to 30 now.
Yeah. That's amazing, isn't it?
That's right.
Wow.
So there is a nifty little KPI around podcasts, and it's once you've done more than 20 in a series, which Finney's done multiple series of more than 20, you're in the top 2 billion, 1 billion,
Top 1%. Yeah.
or top 1% of the
Podcast.
because most podcasts don't get past
Wow.
20
That's cool.
episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we've broken a world
Nice.
record. In fact, we should go for the Guinness World. So when you think about where would this sit with, because we're always thinking about linking back to the community. How can this sit with the various entities? I mean, we don't want to pack it up and take it and put it in ōMAC or anything. But how can we link better with council and your community activities here? Because they are like the front door really to the community when you think.
Yeah.
That is your responsibility.
Yeah. That's a really good question. I mean,
I don't know the answer, by the way.
I might not either. No. I mean, there's everyone knows about ōMAC.
Well, we're supposed to be calling it the other name.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Its real name.
Oh my gosh, it's gone from my head.
Yeah, I was able to say it for a while.
What do you mean?
Well, ōMAC was given a name.
Yeah.
And then somebody in their wisdom decided it wasn't going to be called that after all.
What?
And so there's a lot of hurt about that.
Yes, of course.
Um,
Something like I've never heard that in my entire life.
Yeah. It's in that early clip. Remember that we did that about Ōtara?
Yeah. So Moana I know Moana,
Yeah.
the name Moana. Moana Nui Akiwa.
Oh.
Yeah, oh no, that's
No, that's the pools. Sorry.
no, that's Margaret, isn't it? Isn't that one in Nuiaki?
Yeah. The rec centre. Yeah. What's something along the Moana?
Yeah.
That was right before the destruction of the beautiful mill outside ōMAC as well, eh?
When the name.
No, you heard about what happened to the mill, right? So
Tell us.
we're gonna cut this one out. So,
Yeah.
so outside of ōMAC, the beautiful mill that's out there was not that. There was this beautiful one that withstand over the early 80s, and that got painted over black. And no one told council who did that. They just painted over it. And whoever did the mural got really angry and found out about it. And that's why there's a new mural that stands right in front where the ōMAC is. Someone had painted all over it.
Oh.
It was beautiful artwork too, made by kids. That whole entire mural was made by kids, and it got painted over.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jeez.
damn. I didn't.
and cut back in.
Okay, so we've just been telling some stories off the camera there, which will never reach the public. I'm sorry, listeners.
Just see Vinny if you want to know.
Yeah, see Vinny.
All those details.
Flick him $10 now. I'll tell them all. Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's little stories though, like that, isn't it? That is what makes, in Māori we say pūrākau. So they're the stories that are ours that we are sharing that build the community.
Yeah, nice.
And I guess that's what we're doing. That's what we're collecting here. We're collecting our pūrākau, and then so in the future people can go back and say, oh yeah, that was Richie. I remember him. Oh, how did he get to be mayor after all?
That's the second joke about that in the row, second day in a row I've heard that joke about. Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But going back to your question around how
can we collaborate more effectively?
Yeah. But because even you bringing up that point around holding our stories. So last year we were able to fund, the last financial year we were able to fund the Scorpions, the Ōtara Scorpions to kind of hold their stories, because there's members there that have been there years. They've got like newspaper clippings, photos, and stuff like that. So they had the desire and the dream to ask old members, let's save all that stuff, but because they don't have the technology to be able to digitize all of that stuff, that's when they came to us, and so they said, oh, we need this digitized, we want to save it. Ōtara's population might be changing, so we want to save what it looks like now. So whatever future generations are here, they can say, yeah, this was what Ōtara was at the time. And so we did that work with the Scorpions, so we were able to just digitize a lot of their mahi. And so now that's sitting in the Auckland Library's website
and
there forever. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's saving those stories. And I guess what you're saying here, us telling these stories, that's part of what we can contribute is we've got the technology to hold those stories.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we talked about last year maybe was that I remember like in the gallery they had like video stories before, and they had little TVs around the place and you could put the headphones on and we could do that with some of our favourite podcasts.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we tried to investigate that, and then I don't know, it didn't go anywhere. We're really interested in doing that. We want to share what we've done.
Yeah.
I mean, this is such a beautiful gift, the opportunity to sit and talk and
absolutely. And Fresh actually is looking at trying to incorporate more local stuff, because we get told from a regional perspective, this is what you need to do this term, and we've echoed what we've said to them. Oh look, that's awesome, but we also need flexibility to incorporate local stuff. So when Sully decides to come and he wants to share something, when you guys want to come here, so we and the regional team been awesome. They're saying absolutely, we agree, and so we're going to try merge that flexibility into Fresh's program.
Okay. So how do we go about doing that?
That process is still being worked out, but I'll definitely let you guys. We'll definitely let the community know, because the arts community in Ōtara, we all know they're strong. So they constantly voice their opinion to us, and so we got a new manager there. He's Ōtara born and bred himself, Henry Bowl. So but the Bowl family's an Ōtara family. So his aim is to really open it up to the local.
Or should we rock up there and say hi? It might be a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys should.
I always try to, but I'm like, are we welcome in here? I don't know.
Well, we used to have a great relationship with Fresh back in the day.
Yeah, we should do it, Charlie. Give us our details, and then I'll give it to Hens, and then if your youth want to jump in there.
Definitely.
But PAOO. Pa'o.
Cool. Yeah.
Because we always go past, because when we do graffiti, like paint the graffiti with the kids, they're like, what's that? Can we go in there? I'm like, no, you're going to just rate them all. They're going to panic because how many kids are here? I'm like, no.
But how cool will it be to have their art, And
that's what I mean,
yeah.
Because, we've got that, if you have a look when we go out, there's a...
their first art piece?
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was thinking, which makes us do it. But we've got a little contract with Beautification Trust where Jar's leading a team around beautification, waste minimisation. And we
What's the name?
Clean-up Queens. 274 Clean-up Queens. That was your name. You
Testing-
made up.
just testing you.
Oh, is that what you but the Clean-up Queens had a project in the last school holidays where the kids created these artworks.
Wow.
And so they've been integrated into the signage, which you'll see on a trailer somewhere near you.
Cool.
Somebody took the trailer.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Do the rounds.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
So, yeah, not only did the kids create the artwork for the signs, but then the signs came back, and now they're doing putting them all together. Sully was teaching some woodwork the other day.
Oh, nice.
DIY Queens. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Measuring, banging, pulling it apart when you stuffed it up.
Nice.
Starting over again.
Yeah.
And Fresh isn't really, even though it's a visual art site, like that's not the only place in Ōtara that can take your art. So I was just thinking, because Fresh, obviously operates to a program and a structure, and we're trying to make it more local. But even the library, Ōtara Library, could take that stuff on. Te Poke Ōtara could have it in their foyer and stuff. So those things, and the community might not know, but it's good to now tell people that.
To actually exhibit.
Yeah, there's stuff
Cool.
there. There's ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably visit one of those places.
Have to.
Yeah. I mean, Jarvis was talking about before that the kids have been doing this graffiti thing with
Yeah.
So I don't know, there's a movie about it too. The cops use it as their big publicity push.
Right.
So they help us, and everybody dresses up the same, so no one knows who's a cop and who's not.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is
wow,
really funny.
smart. Yeah.
And then the
Very
people that don't
smart.
want to be recognised as being good guys because they'd rather be bad guys, they put a beanie over their heads and hope you can see who it is. But we still remove the graffiti, and our project for these holidays, in fact that's my next meeting, somebody watching the time,
Yeah.
is we're going to take on, well hopefully, working with HUD to take on the MIT site and get rid of that graffiti.
Awesome.
Yeah, so and the idea is for an artwork there. So that's kind of like urban artwork, the whole idea.
Yeah.
And my plan, the budget says that we're going to hire some of our local own artists, and we won't name them, but you can imagine who we're talking to.
Yeah.
And I mean, they love kids and they're really good at that sort of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
HUD is funding
they're
it?
engaged. Well, they said they would, yeah. So
Oh,
we'll
I
see
hope
how
so.
it goes.
Yeah.
I might come and ask for money from you. Just see. I haven't actually finished the budget yet, but I'll flick it past you. Yeah. There's so much to do. It's all so exciting too, I think. So the things I'm hearing, because I guess we should sort of walk towards a wrap at some point, although we could be here all afternoon, is one, you are committed to turning council engagement, as it were, on its head. Going back to community, engaging community, being a real face for this community here in Papatoi.
Yeah. I mean, and particularly for, we're talking about an Ōtara context, but the whole of South Auckland, would love to lift the engagement with council.
Yeah.
And I guess personally too, I think of our Māori and Pasifika families. You can just see it in the voting for the local elections. Like our participation's not good.
Yeah, there's a million reasons why that's
Absolutely, yeah. But then I think, what can we do from our end? What's within our control? And that's just to keep building those relationships in between the elections. Don't just go election time and try to build those relationships then. But
hand
just
out lollies
keep
and
it
things.
going. Vote with lollies and so forth. But it's that. I mean, we all operate on that. We do better in relationship, and so that's. I guess that's what we're trying to push.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact is that I couldn't even tell you who your predecessor was. So, we're out in community every day.
Yeah.
And, we didn't even meet them at ōNAC meetings, so if they didn't ever turn up at the network, I mean, at least you do from time to time. Make sure that you've put it in your diary.
Fair enough.
But that whole, it's about being seen, isn't it? Not hiding away and being really committed.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. And then that second thing, if we think particularly around the creative space, that, let's own that space as a community as well.
Yeah.
Let's not make it something that's locked away. Let's not make it something that the kids are frightened to go to. Or frightened of.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Nicely though.
Yeah, but I mean, that they make it feel your home. I mean, back in the day when we used to do that STEM stuff, and it's like 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
But we use the library as an activation point.
That's right.
So we should go back to those, but go forward together.
We're on the same lane.
Yeah, we are.
Saying the same lane there, yeah. So absolutely agree. But if I can just go back to the predecessor point too, because I absolutely loved the person who was in before me, but the way she operated was she tried to push the managers to make sure the frontline managers were at these meetings, and so that's why at Tupu, she gave me the flexibility to go out. So for me, there's kind of two different ways to operate. Either you're out there, or you are fostering an environment where your people under you are out there, and that's what she did. And that's where I learned a lot of my community, because she enabled me to get out there. Yeah. But everything you're saying about STEM being in the libraries, man, that's down my alley. Yeah, because the other hat I hold is I'm the president of the National Association for Libraries. Okay. And so I'm constantly pushing that message about public libraries, especially being the education space for the community. It's not just don't just go past and think it's just books, boring. No. That's what people normally think.
Well, and it'll die if that's what happens.
If we stay like that, yeah, that's right. So
that was, of course, we used to take over the library as well. Yeah. In those days.
Perfect.
Yeah. It was perfect. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm having all these flashbacks. I think we did it a few times.
Yeah.
And then there was a time we took over the whole town centre. Anyway, thank goodness we're not trying to do that anymore.
Do you got any advice for our youth?
I mean, if I can take that back to my personal story is, for me, what drives my own life has always been my faith in God, and just the value that you get from that. And because I have that in myself, when I speak to youth, then I try to say there's the same value and worth in you. That if a God who's absolutely God would look at you, create you, you're special as there's no other person like you, and he's willed enough to create you. That means you're special and unique, and that even further that he's sent his son to die for you. And this is all Christian talk, but this is coming from my angle. If he's done that enough for you, then there's the absolute worth to you and value to you, and so you got to protect it, and you got to live it more. You got to search and because what I've given is a quick synopsis of the gospel, but the gospel for me is what drives my own work, but it also is me saying to the youth, man, that's what makes life worth living. Hey, all the stuff that's rubbish out there that always competes against your value and worth, and will keep telling you what your value and worth. But for me, God has, because he's unmovable, because I've seen it in my own life, that's what I would say to the youth. And they might not understand, but I'm hoping that the love that I'm saying and the sincerity is enough to say, man, you are absolutely loved and worth and valued. So walk in that. Don't walk in the, I'm useless, I don't deserve to be here. Walk in that value and that worth.
I want to take that advice for myself. Thank you.
Sweet. Shacha.
And I have one last question.
Yep.
So, I say over the 10 plus years, you've come across so much of your patrons or your customers or whatever you want to name them, people that you've come across in your life. If you had a message to someone like myself who you've come across in your life, who have influenced, and I will say this out loud, you have influenced my life, I've gone from just a kid who's just used to eat his lunch and TC, to doing something like this for his community now, finding purpose. So to those Aarons, to those Vinnies, to those Johns who are out there, still in the grind, what do you want to tell them in front of this camera?
Oh man, like the ones I've caught up yourself, Vinny, and there's other, like we used to run a boys club, a Darlan Boys, and I see them now and then, and just really proud of how they've all turned. And I'll be honest too, not all of them have turned to good things, but them as a person, when I catch up with them, it's still like the same, still their same love, and their same aroha, that alofa that we have. So I guess the first thing I'll say to those people, old customers, old patrons, old youth that we caught up is, man, I'm really proud you grinded, that you are at that point now. You could have easily given up at a certain point, but you chose not to. And you might not be where you had planned 10 years ago. You'll probably think you were going to be living in Howard or something. No jokes. But wherever they are, if you're still breathing and blood is still circulating in your heart and air is going in your lungs, there's still time to push for your goals and your development. So yeah, as long as you're breathing, man, keep pushing.
A very special time talking to you. I feel it's like the beginning of something new.
Yeah.
And I love
awesome.
having two interviewers, two conversation partners. Yeah. So
This is the first, actually.
Yeah. So we might
Honoured.
We might come back and do something in 6 months and see how we've got on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that sort of intergenerational and interannual thing. Yeah. Because it just makes sense to say, okay, we said we're going to partner, what are we going to do? Because there's no point just to the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay,
That's
thank
right.
you.
Yeah, got to action it.
Yeah,
thank
well,
you.
come back again, Hoki Mai anō.
Cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.